Hey, all you ph360 peeps, welcome back after that break. Hope you got out and got some movement, got a little something to eat or drink. And we are continuing our sessions. Will go on today until about 1 o'clock. So be sure and stay tuned for all of this exciting stuff that we're going through. And we're so happy that we got to bring back Diana Anderson to talk to us about a little taste of the biotypes. So welcome, Diana.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to be here. Glad that everybody's on the call. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, for people who weren't here yesterday and haven't gotten the replay yet, can you just give them a little, just a little taste of, like, tell us something that you didn't tell us yesterday, something fun about you.
About me?
Yeah, about you.
Well, probably the funnest thing I can think of is that when I started ph360, I was living in the mountains, and the ph360 told me high mountains are actually not good for my body. So now I'm living at the beach, and I just moved in the last 5-6 days to my new house at the beach, and I'm right by the beach. And so ph360 brought me to the beach. That's kind of fun.
That's fun. I love it. I love it. And we're coming to the beach soon. This next week, we're going to be at the beach in Oceanside with our awesome retreat. So that's going to be fun too. So Diana, you have been working with coaches and taking the coaches through all of the trainings. And like I told everybody that we're going to go through a little taste of this, but we go way more in depth in the courses that people could take. And I just wanted you to just talk about that just for a minute, because some people were curious about, what actually goes on in the courses. Just some little, like a minute or two about that.
Well, there's so much to learn in ph360. Even in the courses, you're just getting kind of the surface of it. Doing it every day, integrated into your life, talking to family and friends about it, watching videos. There's just so many different levels of education and information in ph360 that even the course honestly just gives you a beginning into it. So what we do in the course is we go through the details of the different sciences and the biotypes, so people start to get an understanding, an overall sense of how it all works. And that really, to get it to sink in, like even for me, I've been through a few courses now with ph360, and I am learning all the time about different foods, how they impact the body, how maybe weather or interactions socially, all kinds of things impact us, and how our environment affects us. I'm still learning a ton as I go. So the course is just the beginning of a lifetime learning process about this. That we could learn about Ayurveda and Chinese medicine for years and years and years. And ph360 already has that integrated into the program. So we're kind of just teaching people and scratching the surface as we go. But staying involved and watching all our resources is a good way to learn more.
Yeah, that's really great. One of the things that I've heard people saying from the courses, because we've done 3 different series of courses so far, and there have been people who attended each one, and they said each of them were totally different. And so I think that as our knowledge grows and like we bring more into it, like every time that we have another course, we're bringing more into it, sharing more information with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we have a lot of people chiming in on the call tonight. Oh, look at, there's Gay from Boise. Some of our Boise peeps here.
That's great. Diana's from Boise originally.
There's so many things inside it.
Well, and something else too, just to think about that, if people really want to dig into their ph360, first of all, we just had a call with Rebecca Morrison, and we learned all about all of the possibilities for the insights in all the other areas and how important they are. So people really got a good feeling for how important looking at place and environment and the social and the talents and the mind and exercise and how important those are. You know, it's not just about food. And so we really dug into that. And one of the things that there's so many little tips and insights, not when you look at the why section for your food, it's not just telling you, oh, this food is good for this reason and we took it and it's bad for this reason. It's also giving you tips and tricks about your body and what's best for you and why it should be good for you. So it's unbelievable, the research that was done and all the things that are in the why section. And you know, so be sure and look in your why section to really get some insights on all of these sorts of things.
Now, are you talking about the why section in the food? Is that opened up now to everybody?
It is. It is.
Oh, wow.
It's on the site right now. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. Well, most people probably don't even know how to find their why, honey. That was in the last one.
The why is at the, all you have to do is go to the top of your food section and click yes. It's all really easy to do. So just go up there and click yes, and then it's down below each food. And so that would
click on the food to see it. You click on the food and then the why pops up.
Mm-hmm. And yep. I highly, highly recommend it, of course. So Diana, what are you going to talk about today? Like what kind of thing, what are we up for today?
Well, I'm going to start to share my screen because that takes a minute for it to share while I talk. Okay. So what I'm going to be talking about today is more of the biotype stuff. So right now, we've been talking a lot. Oops. Okay. I'm just going to be fixing my screen here for a second. We have been talking a lot about the sciences, but really now we need to be talking about the different biotypes in more specific detail. So yeah. That's my goal right now, is to give everybody a better idea. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
You do that for a second. I'll share something.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do this.
You got, while Diana's fixing your screen, sorry. The biotypes are only one of 15 layers of science. So this is just one layer, and we're going to be teaching you about more layers as time goes by. We'll be bringing in more information, but this was the easiest and we thought the most fun because it's kind of fun to see like, wow, okay, like what is my biotype? And so biotypes is just one area of 15 with 10,000 data points that all go around in a circle like a spirograph. Putting in, like if you have seen the spirograph, you have to be kind of old to know that, right? But so the spirograph goes around in all these colors. That's what you look like in the ph360 background, is a spirograph. And each one is unique, and there is no spirograph the same. And so that means you're unique and that you're never the same as anybody else. And so like now we're kind of learning, we got a lot of that with Rebecca, learning how to love the individuality of us and like how to understand that other people are different too, and not having that as a judgment, but as a what is. It just is true. And so now we're going to share the biotypes with you, just the basics of them. And again, this is just one layer. And Diana, do they need to know their biotype in order to get incredible results from ph360?
Oh, absolutely not. You don't, you know, the thing that's so great about the program is that it's already teaching you everything you need to know. You don't have to know the biotype. And honestly, I think that knowing your biotype can confuse people if you haven't been through a course. I honestly feel this because when you go through the course, you understand what it means to be the different biotypes that we're going to talk about today. If you haven't gone through a course, you're going to have more questions at the end than you're going to have answers.
That is so true. Oh my gosh.
So
but you know what they can do though, is while you're talking today, what you guys can do is you can listen and then kind of figure out where you think you go. Like, which one do you think you resonate with? That sort of thing. And remember this too, and Diana, this is so true because this was my truth, is that I had been resonating with a different biotype in most of my life. You know, because in my life, I had to be a doer. I had to get things done, and I had to like leap over tall mountains and take care of people. And, you know, I kind of took on a role, a certain role that was not exactly what my body needed. And so as I did that, then when I discovered what my real self was like, and I didn't discover that by knowing my biotype, I discovered that by reading the ph360 Insights. When I discovered that, it was, you know, really challenging for me because I thought that was soft and, you know, like mushy and not me, and that I'm way bigger than that. And I was discounting and making small the power of the person who's there to love people and to make people feel welcome and to, you know, cuddle them up. And so when I, you know, that's, you may be acting as another biotype now, but you may literally be in your body a different biotype. Have you seen that too, Diana, in your experience?
Well, yeah, when people aren't quite balanced, or maybe they have, because of environmental reasons or the way they grew up, they might feel like they have to do something and it isn't really natural to them. And then once people do what's more natural to them, they actually feel healthier. So if you're balanced and you're really healthy, you're probably doing the things naturally that are good for your body. But if you're out of balance and you're not healthy, that might mean that you're not following what's more natural to your biotype, meaning your natural hormones and your natural physical traits. But let's get into it, so I can go through that better when I've kind of explained it. Let's get into the biotypes, and I can explain that even better.
Awesome.
Can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about yesterday, I'm just going to quickly review these pictures because you guys saw this yesterday, the endomorph, the mesomorph, and the ectomorph body types. And there's just, if you look around, you know there's different body shapes. And this just means that a certain area of the body developed stronger in the womb through different dermal layers. That's all that means, is some dermal layers are more dominant in these different individuals. And, you know, men and women have these different shapes based on their body type. Now, body type has been around forever. Ayurveda has used body types for thousands of years in their medicine, and they used Pitta, Kapha, and Vata, 3 biotypes, which are the same as the meso, the endo, and the ecto. And so this has been something they've used for thousands of years, and we have integrated Ayurveda food systems into ph360. Chinese medicine has also used the elements of the biotypes for thousands of years and applied that to how these different body types interact with their environments, and how some of them have a hot body inside where they generate a lot of energy and they burn a lot of calories, so they are hot and they need cooling foods. And other body types are very cool already and they need warm foods to keep that energy up and sustain that heat. And so Chinese medicine has used those for thousands of years with the biotypes, and we have integrated the elements of Chinese medicine into ph360 as well. It's one of those 15 layers that Jules mentioned this morning, and Ayurveda is one of those 15 layers, and anthropometry. So biotypes are a multi-layer part within ph360. And so what we have done is we have taken the 3 biotypes of mesomorph, endomorph, and ectomorph and made them broke them down a little more. So first we have mesomorph, which is the kind of the athletic look of a body. They're smaller, shorter in stature, shorter hands, shorter feet. And then we have the endomorph, which has got a more body mass. They're going to have bigger bones, bigger muscles, and have the ability to have more fat tissue. They just have, they're larger bodies. They have larger heads and overall larger bodies. And then we have the ectomorph, which is more of a longer face, leaner body, and more trim. And they're naturally that way. That's just naturally how they're going to be. So in ph360, we've taken those 3, the mesomorph, endomorph, and ectomorph, and then we have the people who blend in between. We have created 6 systems. So if you look at this chart very carefully, There's 360 numbers on a wheel, so that's the 360 of pH 360. And we have the mesomorphs, for example, are numbers 90 through 210, but the 90 through 150 are the activators, which are more of a true mesomorph. And the connectors in the middle are going to be a combination of mesomorphs and endomorphs. They're going to have both qualities. And there's a lot of people who just don't fit into a true mesomorph or a true endomorph or a true ectomorph. They're a combination of a couple of different biotypes. So we have 6 categories, and even when you look at this chart and you look at the 6 categories, we want you to pretend there's no lines there, because really, you know, the lines are ones we put there to help you put these in a category. But realistically, it's like in life, there's no real lines that are, you know, dividing the grids of the earth. Those are lines we put there so that we can categorize things. So we're all somewhere on this 360-degree wheel, and we have components of these different biotypes. We all have some mesomorph tissue, endomorph tissue, and ectomorph tissue. So we all have some of that, but we're going to be dominant. Most people are dominant in one area. So is that making sense, Jules, so far?
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely.
So we have 6 categories. Instead of the 3 biotypes, we have 6. And they're activator, connector, guardian, diplomat, sensor, and crusader. And the activator is the true mesomorph, the guardians are the true endomorphs, and the sensors are the true ectomorphs. And then crusaders, connectors, and diplomats are somewhere in between those. So we're going to make this help this make more sense as we go. So this is a bigger look at the 6 biotypes in pH 360, and you're going to fall into one of those categories. And we'll start with the sensors. And I'll go through just a few things about the sensors. So they're lean body, they have small petite shoulders, and it's harder for them to gain weight. They can gain some weight, but it isn't easy for them to gain weight. Sometimes they have problems with losing weight when they don't want to. They tend to be our really thin models or really thin ballerinas. They have long, lean looks to their limbs, their fingers, their face. Their face tends to be long in oval shape. And they have to be careful to protect their spine and not lift heavy things, because they don't have the muscle structure for a lot of strength and heavy lifting over their weight. They do really well to have warm foods. So if you are a very lean woman or man and you just have always had a very lean structure without gaining weight easily, then it's really helpful for your body to not eat a lot of salads, even if you love them, and eat more cooked foods. Cooked foods are better for you, especially really well cooked meat. And then they often have very high brain capacities for creativity, beauty, details, and science, or things that are just require a lot of thinking. And they tend to do better in warmer climates, maybe 80 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit and humid. Now, we do know other biotypes that'll be going, oh, phew, that's way too hot. But you put somebody who's petite and thin in that environment, and they're going to do better. They like things to be soothing because they have very sensitive nervous system, so soothing is better. And socially, they like to be accepted for who they are, because we have people like myself and Jules who are mesomorph type people who blend in to any environment. Like, we are chameleons and we can kind of blend in. But sensors like to just be themselves, and they don't necessarily adapt to everyone else's environment. They're just going to be true to themselves, and so they want people to accept them for who they are. And they might have a very light appetite and have sometimes when I'm coaching them, I have to say, hey, you got to remember to eat. Would you set a timer and remind yourself to eat, and take some time to cook some food, because they don't make it such a priority. Okay, so that gives you a quick overview of the sensor. And here's some of their health tendencies. They can get fatigued easily, have depletion of their bones, so osteoporosis and so forth. Digestion can be a really difficult thing for them, and sometimes they're very sensitive to what they eat. They can experience hair loss, lots of pain, vascular problems if it's not warm enough for them. And then they have a risk of potential brain diseases because they have highly developed nervous systems and brains. Okay, so we're gonna, is that making sense, Jules? How did that go?
Yeah, those are great. And I love these pictures where it shows the bodies, because sometimes we think, oh, a sensor, they must be thin. But you can have a sensor that's out of balance and whose body doesn't look that thin.
Right. Yeah, they can gain some weight, and if they're closer to some sensors that are get closer to the diplomats, they can even be, you know, not be really super petite. We're showing kind of a small segment of the sensors because there's a huge range, and so it's pretty hard to give you an exact body shape. But that's just sort of, remember, a lot of these are general.
This is general because everybody's unique.
Everybody's unique, and they fall somewhere different on the ph360 wheel. See, this Crusader is part of the wheel, and it represents numbers 60 to 90, and so it depends on where they're going to fall on that wheel. But Crusaders are generally lean and very muscular as far as definition. Their muscle, when they have muscles, it will tend to be very well defined, and they can gain weight as well. But it isn't as easy for them to gain weight as some biotypes.
Got it.
They do really well with endurance sports. So they're one of the biotypes that can be marathon runners and long cyclists. If you kind of look at the cyclists that perform in the Tour de France, you might notice that they have a very similar biotype, and a lot of them are going to be Crusaders. They need lots of minerals. They tend to easily get depleted from minerals. They need well-cooked meats as well. Their body just breaks down meats slowly, and so they need them partly broken down for them by being well-cooked. They're big vision people. There's our own Matt Riemann. He's a Crusader. And Bill Gates is a Crusader. People who have kind of a big vision tend to be Crusaders. They like things warmer, a little bit moist. 70 to 90 degrees is a good kind of a temperature range. And they love to share their message. A lot of times, if they have a message, they'll be good to share it and good communicators. Also, they make good doctors because of their high levels of dopamine makes them be able to kind of be separated from some of the concerns that other people, they can separate things logically from emotionally very well. Okay, so this is like every biotype has things that are really important for them. For the Crusaders, fresh air is one of the most important things for them. Fresh air, like for sensor, it would be soothing is really important. For these guys, they need lots of fresh air to be well. Okay, health tendencies. So they're going to have calcium issues because they just have mineral issues in general. Not enough being absorbed. They can have cranial suture issues. They can calcify early as a child and develop cervical and lumbar issues. So they can have a lot of neck pain, tension in the head, and enlarged prostate can be a common problem as they get older. So these are just a few general ones. These are some of the main things, but each biotype is going to have be more prone to certain diseases, more prone to certain strengths and weaknesses, and certain behavioral tendencies. Okay, are we ready to move on to the next one, Jules?
Yeah, that's great. I'm sure. Are you guys enjoying what Diana's talking about? Let her know.
I can't see any of the comments because my screen is all the way big, but
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you know as we go.
Okay. So the activator. Activators are true mesomorphs. So the sensor, by the way, is the one that we showed first. That's the true ectomorph. Okay, they have ecto is the skin, the brain, and the nervous system is the ectoderm tissues. The activator is a true mesomorph, and this is the part of the tissues in the womb that develop the muscles, some of the bones, the inner skin layers, the inside skin layers, and things like tendons and so forth. So that's the activator. And they are dynamic and have the ability to make a lot of sudden changes. So a running back would be a good activator because he's got to be quick on his feet and just move and adjust very quickly. The animal associated with the activator is the cat. And so you can think of how they can quickly make a move. They make good gymnasts. They're kind of shorter and they have good ability to balance. Balance is one of their things, just like the cat. For food, instead of well-cooked food, instead of that, they have a very fast digestion, so they need to eat frequently. This is the biotype that's going to need to eat frequent meals. And so they're going to also need lots of antioxidants and essential fatty acids. So let's see. They are very adaptable and can wear many hats. These are guys who can multitask. They want change all day long, constantly. They want change. So it's not good for them to have a job where they're doing a rote task or doing the same thing all the time. They're going to want lots and lots of diversity. Temperature-wise, very similar to the Crusaders, except dry is better than moist. They need a hot, dry temperature. They like to connect with friends and share with friends, but also a lot of times they want to be alone, kind of like a cat. Sometimes they want to be really close to people, and sometimes they want to be all by themselves. They're also can be very independent. Health tendencies, so joint and tendon issues, anxiety and insomnia. They have a high amount of adrenaline that runs through their body, and so they can get kind of adrenaline fatigue and stuff like that. Irritable, agitation, too much adrenaline all the time, accumulation of iron in the veins or the brain. They can have digestive issues. That's a common thing with them, is to have a different type of digestive issue than the sensor, but definitely difficulty digesting certain foods, and problems with their liver, you know, toxicity and things like that. Okay, Jules, what else? How is this? Do you have any questions coming up from any of the people?
No, not so far. I don't have any questions about the connectors, the Crusaders, or the sensors. So just keep going.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, the connectors there's quite a variety depending on where they fall on the chart. So, you know, if they're closer to the guardian side, they're going to have broader shoulders and they can tend to have a bigger chest. But if they're over towards the activator side, they're going to have probably a little more of the definition or the ability to be, you know, do balance and stuff. But overall, these guys tend to be like, their animal is the dog, as you can see down here, the dog instead of the cat. They tend to like to play. So these guys love to, you know, do things that are fun. Fun is a big priority, and social fun. So they're doing things that they're enjoying with their friends, or in a group like volleyball. They also have a similar digestion to the activators, in that they have a fairly fast digestion and they can digest food pretty easily, but they can go a little bit longer in between meals than an activator. A lot of activators need to eat every 3 hours, where a connector could eat like every 4 hours. They also need essential fatty acids, and when they get a little bit older, they could benefit from maybe some digestive enzymes. We have 3 categories of biotypes that are very visceral. So it's, you know, food is a very important part of their life. They need to enjoy their food, enjoy it with family and friends. It needs to be a feel-good experience. So, you know, when people who are connectors and guardians and diplomats are eating, they need to enjoy their food. That's really important to them. Where, you know, the other biotypes, they might, I always say they eat to live. You know, sensors, crusaders, and activators more eat to live, and the connectors and the guardians and the diplomats more live to eat. Eating's really important to them. So let's see. They always want fun and adventure. That's really important. I love this slide. This is pictures of Jules' son and some pictures he took. He's a very much activator, connector guy, very sports oriented. I wish this little thing could be moved so you guys could see what that says down there. It says that they need cooler sleeping temperatures, so I can't make that move, sorry. It needs to be like 65 to 75 or 80 degrees, with it being cooler at night. Uh-oh. They've got some things happening here. Okay, and they want to be with their friends. So walking, if you're a connector and you hate exercising, then, you know, exercise with people that you know. Get a buddy, a workout buddy or a coach. Some of their problems are, again, vascular problems. So one of the things that the mesoderm is also your heart tissue, your vascular tissue. And so that can be a weakness area as well if a person isn't healthy. So they can have hormone insufficiencies, be prone to hypertension, and imbalances with estrogen. So that can make it hard to lose weight and hard to focus. They can have focus issues. Okay, so Jules, share something so that this isn't getting so redundant here. I mean,
what? I think everybody's loving what you're doing. I mean, they don't want to hear me blabbering on.
Yeah, when you want to add, tell us something about the connector.
Well, something about the connector. Well, I mean, I've already shared, like, you know, that I thought I was an activator. Now that you guys have heard the two, I really, really thought I was an activator. I was so certain of it. And it's so funny that, I mean, like, I fought it. I'm not kidding. I just fought it for so long. And so I've been one of those transformative people in the process where I was just pretending I was an activator, and it was hurting my body. Because I am a connector, my body's really sturdy and durable. And so I'm like the last to fall, you know, I can do it. I mean, that's this body. And so I can put it through so much stress. But when the moment came and that last little straw came in and the stress just overwhelmed my body, I went down. And that's how my biotype is. Now, the other part of that is that it takes a while to build it back up too. It's not just a snap your fingers and it's done. And so that's been a really awesome process. I have such amazing people around me to support me and to cheer me on and all that. So it's been really great. But so don't get discouraged. I mean, I've been doing ph360 for more than 1.5 years, and you know, it's a learning process and growing throughout the process. And so, you know, don't give up, keep going. You know, my body's still rebuilding. I'm still changing and still coming back into my natural biotype. A lot of my behaviors are more in my biotype now, but I'm still it's still happening. It's a transformation. And so, and it's fun. It's really fun. And once you discover this, there's like so much inner joy that just gets to come out, and that it's so different. And so just, you know, I just want to encourage all of you. Was that good, Dee?
Yeah, exactly. You know, instead of me just saying boring stats about the different biotypes, to bring it to a real person. And, you know, I'm glad you said what you did, Jules, about the time it takes, because really, you know, I've coached a lot of people, and a lot of people think of pH360 as something they're just going to start to do and maybe, you know, improve some physical thing in their health. But it is not a quick one-time thing. pH360 is a way to live. It is a way to integrate a better social life, better career, better exercise program, the right food. It is a lifestyle that we incorporate into our life, and all of us who've been involved with it have learned as we go. We learn more and more and more about the human body, about all the different things that we know about the body from thousands of years of application, and how just tweaking something little, like where you live or how stressed your life is or what your career is, just tweaking little things can make a huge difference in how your skin looks or how much energy you have. And you know, a new thing that just happened to me is my memory has just super improved in the last, you know, month or two. I was, you know, thinking, oh man, aging really sucks because, you know, now I have 3 grandchildren, and I'm, you know, I'm aging and changing, and I'm thinking that my memory is not going to improve, but it is improving. I mean, substantially improving the last couple months. And so, you know, we're learning on and on and on how to make little changes to tweak life and make it better. And so pH360 is not something you're going to do for a month. It is something you've got to do to incorporate into your life, and you'll just notice it gets better and better and better. My health has been improving since I started, and it's continuing to improve.
That's great.
Okay, well, I will go on to our next biotype, the guardians. Okay, so the guardians are the endoderms. They're the true endoderms. So they have the most amount of bones and muscles and ability to have fat tissue. So they have the largest body mass. And I want all guardians on the planet to know that they are not supposed to look like those ectoderms. And they're not only are they not supposed to, but it would, you know, it's beautiful to be a guardian. I know some guardians are thinking that because all the models on the magazines are thin, that's how we're supposed to be. And, you know, I will never look like that, and we're not all supposed to look like that. Guardians should be proud of the fact that they have big, beautiful bodies and very sexy bodies, and they make the good linebackers and football players and all kinds of beautiful things, you know. But they need a lot of vegetables, and they need a lot of oxygen, and they need a lot of circulation because they have a lot more mass. They have bigger bones and just a lot more mass overall. So they need to have longer periods between foods, digestion, so 5 to 6 hours. That's really helpful because it takes their body longer to break down the foods. And so if they're eating, say they eat a meal, and then 2 hours later they have another big meal, their body's still digesting the first meal. So it's better to take some time in between and let the body get through the meal. They need a lot of polyflavonoids, and those are found in vegetables. And so that's something their body needs a lot of. Their body is really good at conserving energy and surviving. If we had, you know, times without food in the past, when thousands of years ago, when there were famines, their body would survive very well. But as a result, it stores sugar really easily. So sugar is a no-no, especially refined sugars. And they do well at all kinds of jobs, you know, jobs where you have heavy lifting, jobs where you have to be friendly and do the same task over and over. They have a big diversity of jobs that they can do. Circulation. Now, sometimes as guardians get older, they tend to slow down. So this slide is to encourage guardians as they get older to make sure and get that circulation. Even if your joints are sore, get in the pool, get some circulation going, because that is the most important thing for their health, is the breathing and circulation. They tend to be very good family people, very stable, like to prefer to stay in the same home for a long period of time and be around family. Stability and permanence is a very strong suit of the guardians. They're also very visceral, so food is an experience and food is important to them, like the connectors. They like cooler temperatures are preferred because they make enough warmth. They have enough body to make the warmth, and so a little bit of humidity and 55 to 65 degrees is really comfortable. 55 being a nighttime temperature, 65 being a daytime temperature, or even 70 degrees. And like just one trait is they tend to be cautious, or to, you know, hey, wait, was that going to work out? I don't know. Let's think about that first. They might be more cautious, where like an activator, like you saw Jules' son, the guardian playing, the connector playing on the boards and going upside down. You know, he was being all not cautious, but guardians tend to be more thoughtful about those things and make sure things are going to work out. So they have vascular issues as well, and hypertension. That can be problems, health tendencies, hormone insufficiencies, focus issues, memory issues caused by insulin problems. So they have to worry a lot about insulin because their pancreas is something that's vulnerable. They can have pancreatic issues and diabetes. Digestion difficulties related to the chemicals that are released by the pancreas. And they can have too much sugar or not enough due to their insulin release, and have associated states with agitation or irritation. So those are some things about the guardian. I hope this is interesting and enough as I'm going through these, because I don't know, I just feel like I'm just talking and not relating it enough to the people. So, and I can't see your questions with my slides. So I hope you're finding this interesting. But just so you know, online in the resource section, we have a lot of resources that tell you more about the program, and we're building more resources all the time if you want to learn more about this stuff. So I didn't have very good pictures for the diplomat because they, as you can see here, they vary a lot in their body types. They have enormous amounts of muscle mass, just like the guardians. The guardians have tons of muscle, and yet sometimes they don't have necessarily the definition. They might have to work to show you the definition, but they make good swimmers. And if they're getting closer to the sensor, the diplomats that are going towards the sensor, they'll have the smaller shoulders and more of a pear shape, like this lady on the right. That is a diplomat going towards the sensor. So they also have, especially as they're closer to the guardian, they're going to have large body mass. They're going to be taller and have large bones and large muscles. Veggies, again, really important for them to eat a lot of veggies and have about 5 hours in between big meals. They get low in vitamin A, in vitamins in general, and they need to eat a lot of foods containing high amounts of vitamins. They also conserve energy, and so refined sugar is a big problem for the diplomats. They are very good at seeing patterns, especially as they get closer to the sensor side of the chart. They are really good at seeing human behavior patterns, patterns in society and people. They make good scientists, good health practitioners, because that's something they can easily see. They love to have a low stress environment. They don't like to rush. They like to go at their own pace, and this is healthy for them. This is very important for their overall well-being. And they're very family oriented. Just like the guardians, they make some of the best parents. Guardians and diplomats make very attentive, loving parents. Not that we all make good parents, but you know, they tend to just find that as a very important focus. They're easygoing, and in a social setting, they're going to be people that are easy to talk to, easy to get along with, and just don't make waves. They're very fun to have at a party. And they like the cooler temperatures with a little more humidity, 60 to 70 degrees. And here's some of their health tendencies. Again, pancreas is a big issue for them. Knee and tendon or shoulder inflammation, lack of minerals. These are just a few of the health issues. All of the biotypes have different health issues, but we just are touching on a few just so you could kind of see the differences. Toxicity from various stimulants, alcohol, sugar, processed food. That's really true for also the sensor and the crusader. They're very, very sensitive to alcohol and sugar. especially in their brain. Hypertonicity, lack of resistance of back and abdominals, and prolapse of uterus. Just things right there that tend to be their health problems, low on vitamins, etc. So here's just an example of this man is like a guardian diplomat combination. So he's very tall, right in the middle of the chart. Those are the ones with the largest body mass. And this lady is a connector going towards a guardian. She's very athletic, but has also a very guardian body, very strong ability to have very large muscles. So you can just kind of see that, you know, there's the true body types for the different, the true shape for different body types, but there's also the combinations. That's what I'm trying to show here, the combinations. So if you're interested in learning about having a personal coach or going to our coaching courses, I wanted to put these slides up here for you so that you could know how to either order coaching or go to a course where you can learn more about your biotype or about the different biotypes. If you're already a health practitioner and you want to know all about this stuff so that you can help your own clients, you could go to our courses. If you just want to know more about you, then you can get a personal coach. Okay, so
that's great. And you guys, for those of you that don't know, Diana is one of the instructors. I actually teach part of it, the fun part, of course. And Matt and Rebecca are there also, and other various people that are professionals that will be attending. So it's really fun.
Yes. Okay, so now I can answer some questions. So let me unshare my screen here. If I can figure out how to unshare. Is it unshared?
Uh-huh.
Am I here? Okay.
Great.
So now there's lots of questions. And so you want to pick some questions, Jules? Towards that. Possible. Well, here's a question I want to answer. It says, I might be a diplomat going towards that type. I am a guardian. Is that possible? So that might have been written a little bit wrong. I might be a diplomat going towards that type. I am a guardian. Is that possible? So I'm not sure exactly what Jean's saying right there, but basically we're all going to be somewhere on the chart, and depending on where you fall in the chart, you'll have, if you're a guardian but you're very close to a diplomat, or you're a diplomat close to a guardian, you're going to have guardian and diplomat tendencies. You're going to have both, for sure. And most people are going to have some tendencies towards the other biotypes that they're close to. That's why we want you to kind of disappear those lines and just know in that area you're going to have different tendencies. So another question. Let's see.
There's someone that asked if you can have a combo of 3 different types.
3 different types. Well, most likely, I mean, there's nothing that I could say is totally completely off the table, but most likely what's going to happen is somebody's going to be a biotype, and they're going to have maybe a little bit of tendencies of the biotypes around them, but they're going to be mostly strong in one area and maybe a secondary area. If they're a whole third area away from where they are in the chart, then they're probably not acting like their true biotype. They're probably learned something from their environment or decided this was important. Just like Jules was talking about, she used to feel like she had to be productive and that was more important than having fun. But her natural biotype is that it has to be fun, and productivity is not important. Fun is important. So if she's following her true biotype, she's prioritizing fun and not productivity as much.
That's great. Hey, I'll read the questions and then you can just answer them. How's that sound?
Okay.
Okay. So some people are wondering, well, they're asking how to get their biotype number, but can you kind of explain again why we don't just give out the biotype numbers and all that?
Yeah, so the main reason is, we did that a few times, gave some people their biotype numbers, but really it's so little information that it doesn't help you that much. Like, it's good to know if it might help you to know if you're a mesomorph, an ectomorph, or an endomorph, because, then you could just, feel a little more Like, oh, that makes sense. Now I know why it's harder for me to lose weight, or it's harder for me to gain weight, or whatever. You know, it might make a little more sense. But if we said you're an activator and you don't know what that means, or you're a 90 on the chart and you don't know what that means, really that information is it's not very helpful yet. So what we're trying to do in ph360 is develop a way to make like a book or something, so that when you get your biotype number and your biotype name, you know what that means. Because right now we don't have enough information to give it to you to make it meaningful, where you really understand.
Yeah, that's great. A couple of people said that you had mentioned resources, and somehow they got thinking that that means that they can go to resources and find their biotype number.
No, we don't have a way for you to find your biotype number without a coach. The way we have it set up right now, and keep in mind that ph360 is growing and growing and growing and growing, and we're going to get more and more resources for you all the time. But right now, the only resource we have for you to find your biotype number is to get a coach, and then the coach goes through all of that detail with you, because they understand your biotype because they went through the coaching course. Or you can go to a coaching course, the personal foundation course, and find out all about your biotype and all about you. But it's so much information that we don't have it in a deliverable way right now.
And for people, there's people out there that don't want to be a coach, and that's okay, because that's why we created the personal foundation experience. And all coaches actually go through that course first. But just people out there that want to know more about their ph360, or want to learn more about how they can interact with people in an amazing way, the personal foundation course is the one, and you will get all that information in your personal foundation course.
Yeah. Yeah, and so eventually we'll be able to give you your biotype number in a manual so that you can see everything about you, but that just isn't available yet.
So somebody's asking, like, how do these qualities of the biotype then show up in the profile? So say, for instance, under the mind section, then how does that show up depending on your biotype?
Right, okay. So for example, if somebody's a crusader, and we know that from the back end of the program, we're going to say, we're going to know automatically that that person has a lot of dopamine, and they like to think. Thinking and using their brain all day long is really valuable to them. So in the mind section, it's going to say things like, you know, you would do well to surround yourself with people who are highly independent and stimulate your thoughts. Or you might do well to, you know, learn a lot of details and do a job where you're thinking or sharing ideas. So we give them helpful information that is true to their biotype, but not just their biotype, their type of hormones that are dominant in their body. You know, we use the Chinese medicine and the Ayurveda and the biotypes and all of these different layers to decide things that would be helpful for them to balance out their body. So in the mind section, it's going to talk about your career, the people that would stimulate your mind, and activities and words that would stimulate your mind for that person.
That's great. Awesome. Okay, and then you guys are welcome to ask questions here. Oh, I'll put in the links for the courses in the chat box. So Diana doesn't have to go over that again. And you can just look at the courses and you'll see all the information. And that's just for people that don't have the chat box. It's www.ph360.me/courses. So if you're interested in that, we'd love to have you there. It's so much fun to meet you guys, and we have created lifelong friends. There's a lot of people on this chat that have been to the courses. So maybe if you guys have been to the courses and you want to share something, there's a few coaches on the call too.
Yeah, like Diana Benson's on there. I saw Diana. Hi, Diana.
Yeah, that's great. Somebody asked, can your biotype number change over time?
Well, slightly, yes. So, so basically, if we're like, say you're straight up on the wheel on your 180 on the wheel, you can vary slightly in both directions. Okay, so you could be a 180 and then you could go to a 170 or maybe a 190, and you can vary a little bit on the chart based on, you know, your environment and how your body expresses itself and how balanced you are. You can change a little bit. Can you go from a 180 to a 190? No, No, that's not going to happen because, you know, your body shape can change a little bit over time and as we age and as we grow, but where the body biotypes are based on the ratios of your body, your head ratio to your neck, to your wrist, to your hand. That's not going to change over, you know, 6 months. That ratio is not going to change from a 180 to a 90. So you can only change small amounts.
Yeah. Diana, how do when people are they're asking about like the wheel and being able to see some of this information, where would they go to get that?
To see the information about biotypes?
Yes.
Well, we have had 2 webinars on this. So that's probably the only information we've had out there right now for biotypes for the general public, right?
Yeah, and so here's another thing is, like, how could they, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can they buy the live stream of the course? Because that's still available for people to buy?
Yeah, if anybody wanted to register for the live stream for our last course, which was in California, you can still register for that. I don't have a link for that right now, but I can create one if enough people want to do it. I can put it up and create that for you. So let me know if that's something that you'd enjoy. And then also when people are like, we've learned all this stuff, we've like got all this biotype information now, Diana, and we've got this little taste of each one. And how do we apply that in our lives? Like, what do we do with it now? Now that we've got this information, like, how can we use it to make our lives better?
Well, the main thing I think what we were trying to do with this course was help people to see what ph360 is accomplishing for you in your profile. So it's basically a small, tiny look at a very complex system that's working in the background all the time for the person. So now you are basically armed with an understanding of how ph360 works. Right now, you don't know everything about your biotype without going to a course because we don't have a way to convey that to people. I mean, we had a 4-day course. How can we tell you 4 days of information about biotypes just like that? It's pretty hard. So the only thing you can do is now you understand why you can trust ph360 to say what temperature you should be at, what environment you should be at, what kind of jobs are good for you, and how to tweak your life in little tiny ways to spend less time with these people and more time with these people, and change this part of your career, maybe make a challenge for yourself and exercise. Those little things that ph360 is telling you, you can use the information you learned today to integrate that into your life more. You can trust the program because you understand it better. So sorry, you know, it's not enough information to understand everything about it, but hopefully it's enough information to understand you can trust the program to be guiding you in the right way.
Yeah, that's really important, you guys, because a lot of people are kind of stuck if they don't completely trust that the information is accurate. What we really want to convey to you, and I think we have over the last 5 sessions so far, is how much science and how much specific information it goes into it, and how specific and unique the information given to you is. And that was our goal in wanting to be here. We want to give you that solid assurance that you are in the right place. And we also want to teach you enough so that you can talk about it and be able to share it, because sharing personalized health with others who are suffering, who are sick, who are well, but would love to have a preventative way of knowing what's going on with their body. That's what ph360 is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so we had a couple questions. I saw one that was, how often do we update our measurements? It's really, we recommend that you update in the beginning when you're making changes. Update maybe every 3 weeks to every month. You're going to, or if you're changing faster than that, then update as you change. If you lose weight, change, because it will, in the beginning, the program's going to reduce a lot of foods to help your health kind of get a little boost. And help you not have as much inflammation. As you change and lose weight or whatever, your body's inflammation is reduced, you'll get more food added. So it's important to update so that the program knows to add these foods back in.
That's so true. Yeah, and also when you update, it will give you new foods, but make sure that you update before you go grocery shopping, because that's the best time to do it. You just, every 2 weeks, you just update and then you go grocery shopping. And remember, it's a full update. So you want to do all your measurements and go through the questions again and look at the little answers that you had. Your lunulas might have changed. The striations in your nails might have changed. You may not have those bags under your eyes. You know, things change as you go.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly, very much so. My face changed a lot. my skin changed a lot. So we had a question that, is it in other languages? Jules, we don't have this in any other language right now, right?
Not yet. No.
Not yet. We will, but not yet. And then another question was, so she says, I get some information in my mind area that's contradictory. Perhaps knowing the biotype will clarify this. So that happens to different people, like just like Jules said in the beginning, she was talking about this. When she first looked at her profile, she thought, this is not me. This is not me, because she had decided in her mind that certain things were important through growing up and through influence of other people, and just deciding, you know, these things are important. And as she started to follow her plan and started to eat the foods and do the exercise and do things that are good for her body, naturally she was becoming more in balance and realizing, yeah, that is me. So if something seems off in the program, be sure and just don't discount it right away. Just sit with it. Just like Leslie said, you know, you guys are commenting to each other, and I really appreciate that. Just like Leslie said, just trust the program and just sit with it. Ask other people, do you think this is me? Jules had to do that too. Do you think this is true for me?
That was torturous.
Oh, and we would say, yes, Jules, that's true for you. And she said, no, that's not me. That's not me. We'd say, yes, Jules, that's you. And so, you know, ask some of your friends and family, does that make sense? Do you think this would be good for me? Because sometimes we don't see ourselves all the way, or we've been influenced by other factors. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a question here I can answer. Rose is asking about how to cook the meals and that sort of thing. There are a few videos about this that are in the resource section under integrated. So you can look there. Another thing that we would love to do, if enough people are interested, you guys will do anything you want if enough people are interested to do it. We could do cooking classes. We can do ways to incorporate specific areas in the profile. So just let us know what you would love to have more of, and we are 100% game to provide you with all kinds of awesome stuff.
Yes, I'm trying to read some of these questions, but now that question doesn't make sense. Rose is asking a question about shrimp, and the question, maybe she needs to retype that. So there's wonderful questions over here, and I wish I had time to answer all of them. They're so great. Thanks for putting so many questions in there, everybody.
Let me see. I'm looking too now. You know, can your biotype change over time as your body changes? Of course, we already answered that. Let's see.
So I wonder if Rose's question is about, it says, I get a reminder to eat shrimp 3 times a week. And one of the things, I had a girlfriend who I got on ph360, and she's a diplomat, and she had thyroid issues. And a lot of her meat was taken off, but she had shrimp. Shrimp was like a 4 or 5 smiling. She's like, what am I supposed to do? Eat shrimp all the time? And, excuse me. And so she loved cheese, but she wasn't supposed to have cheese, and she was supposed to eat shrimp. So she started bringing shrimp to work as her little snack, where she used to eat cheese, and she started to eat shrimp. She was off her thyroid medicine in 3 weeks of joining ph360. It literally took 3 weeks for her to not need any more thyroid medicine. And I'm not saying that's going to happen for everybody, but I think the shrimp was part of the reason why she was able to get off her thyroid medicine, because she was taking iodine tablets and she was taking thyroid medicine, but she stopped eating cheese and started eating shrimp, and pretty soon she's lost about 60 pounds. She looks amazing. And Jules, I'll have to tell you who it is because she's somebody you know, and she looks amazing.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. That is great. Awesome. And
The program knows.
Mariad Lourdes said, could I be a crusader and an activator?
Well, yeah, you actually can. You can be right on the edge, right on the line. Because if you're in 90, a 90 is right in the middle between an activator and a crusader, and you're going to have tendencies to have both. Yeah.
That's great. And Marjorie asked, are we supposed to eat all the 4 and 5 smiley foods every day?
No, I thought that too when I first started. I'm like, how am I supposed to eat all this food? No. All the 4 and 5 smiley foods are the ones that you're supposed to, you can eat often. The ones that are 1 and 2 and 3 smileys, you don't eat as often. So you can eat a variety of everything on there, but you don't have to eat everything on there. There's no way you could eat all your green smileys, right? So you just eat more frequently the ones that have higher smileys and less frequently the ones that have less smileys. Don't eat them all. You'll gain too much weight.
Diana, have you experienced too that over time that you'll get more and more smileys as it goes?
So much.
You get more flexibility in the diet, but you've got to do the balancing first.
Yeah, you got to get the inflammation down. So the program will notice if your elbows or knees are swollen, and it'll reduce certain foods like coconut milk and things that cause inflammation. But then as the inflammation goes down, then you'll be given more foods, so you'll have a more balanced diet. It kind of gives you a little jump start at the beginning by reducing a lot of the foods and then seeing how that impacts your body. And I love to tell this story because it's so amazing to me. I let everybody know that I didn't lose any weight off my waist or my hips. I didn't lose anything. I mean, I changed up to a ½ an inch off my waist and hips down just a little once in a while, but most I just stayed exactly the same. But my knees both lost a ½ an inch. Each knee. My waist stayed the same, my hips stayed the same, my chest, everything stayed the same except my knees. You know, and that's how much inflammation I had, is that my knees were just gigantic or something. They lost a ½ an inch. You know, my whole waist didn't lose that much. So, you know, that's how much inflammation we can have.
Oh my gosh, and you were so inflamed when you started ph360. That's one of the reasons why I called you when we did the beta testing in the beginning.
Yeah, I had a lot of health issues, and inflammation being a part of that for sure.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, that's great. And so Marjorie's asking, she said she heard coconut oil is great for everybody. And so why would it not be good for her?
So first of all, there is no thing on the planet that is good for everybody. Just keep that in mind. There's nothing on the planet that is equally good for every person. And especially at different times in our life or at different situations. Coconut oil is a wonderful and amazing, and it has a lot of great benefits, but it isn't necessarily something that everybody's going to need at all times. So what coconut oil is different than coconut milk, by the way, and different than coconut water. They all have very different properties. And so keep in mind when you look up your ph360, like coconut milk is highly inflammatory. It's an inflammatory food, where coconut water and coconut oil are going to be different than that. So just follow your program and trust it, because you'll be added on certain foods. What they might be doing is saying right now you need different oils because of what they offer the body. You might need linseed oil, which is flaxseed oil, or you might need sunflower or grapeseed oil because it offers your body certain properties that you need, and coconut isn't offering that to you. So it's trying to prioritize what your body needs. And the program's more intuitive than just saying everybody should do coconut oil. Now, how intuitive is that? How personalized is that?
Yeah, and it will rotate too. Rose asked, she said she's confused about how to eat. Now, I'm going to answer a little bit before you do. But for example, I only have spinach and clementines on my daily list. But I love eating. I usually eat a lot, so I'm confused. Should I starve? Now, first of all, Rose, we can't know anything. We can't tell you specifically for you because we can't see your profile. I mean, we need to look at your profile. That's what coaches do, is they look at your profile and they help you. But Diana, go ahead and answer that one.
Well, I would say there's just no profile I've ever seen that only has spinach and clementines on your daily list. They probably are not quite understanding your list. So let's say if somebody has only it's unlikely, but if only spinach was the only 5 smiley food they would have, then what the program's saying is you need to eat a huge variety of food and not eat the same thing all the time. So every day needs to be something a little different. Look at that list of the 1 smileys, 2 smileys. Everything that's green you can eat. You just can't eat it in high frequency. So everything on your list that's green is on the table. Just don't eat it every day. So you can eat everything that's on your green. There'll be tons and tons of stuff on your green smileys. And that's what you should be eating.
You can eat, if you've got a lot of 5s and 4s and 3s, then I usually just stick up there. But some people's profiles don't have a lot of 5s and 4s. They have a lot of 3s. And in that case, that is what Diana was just talking about. That your body is asking for variety right now. And so that means interchanging different foods at different times.
Yep. Everything is green you can eat.
Yeah, but hover over each food where the smileys are, and you can see the how often you would be eating them. Like 1 smiley is only once a month or less, and 2 smiley is only once a week or less.
Yep. Yeah, and it's so, like Jean's saying, she's only eating the 3, 4, and 5 smileys. That's fine if you have enough variety with that. If you're eating 3, 4, and 5 smileys and you've got a lot of them, then that's fine. But some people, like Jules just said, they don't have very many 4 and 5 smileys. So in that case, it's just telling you to eat more variety.
Yeah, when I go to the grocery store, when I put it on my iPhone, I just put it in and I only see the 1 page. I never look past the first page. So that's my shopping list. But everybody's different, right? I make a game out of how can I turn these into amazing meals over the next week. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's always a challenge. All of us have to figure out how to integrate that food into our, recipes and so forth. But it's a fun challenge. Like I have a friend, Julie Peach, and she puts her spices that are all on her top spices from her 5 smileys. She puts them in her oatmeal every morning. So she's got turmeric and thyme and all kinds of interesting spices in her oatmeal, and she likes it that way. And so she's integrated it in really fun ways. There's lots of different things we can do.
Wow, that's like savory oatmeal. Like I had not thought of that. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, Julie Peach, she just does lots of different spices in there and just makes it into, something really flavorful. She loves it. I put goji berries and my oatmeal in the morning, because I'm supposed to have oat groats. I have goji berries and chia seeds and hemp seeds and golden berries and fresh fruit and linseed oil, and I get all those in my oatmeal, and so I'm getting antioxidants and essential fatty acids like crazy every morning.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good suggestion, Dee. And anybody could do that by picking up their morning, if you have a grain, or if you don't have a grain. Like, okay, so what if somebody doesn't have a grain? What would you suggest then?
Well, a lot of times fruit smoothies are really good, because then they can add in a little bit of the oils or the seeds or things that have those essential fatty acids in them into a smoothie. So some people have smoothies on their list, some people don't. So we have a few diplomats and guardians who eat later in the morning. And so having something that's more of a lunch item for breakfast, if they're eating late because of their biotype, that's fine too. So they don't have to have a normal breakfast thing. Yeah. Eggs are something that are problematic for a lot of biotypes to start out with eggs. We've reduced eggs on a lot of people, and everyone's like, oh, no eggs, what am I supposed to do? And they'll come back a little bit, but I don't see anybody's chart where they're supposed to have egg yolks every single day. Very, very rarely do we see that.
You know what, Jean mentioned that she's all vegetables and proteins only in chicken, but Jean, I'm so excited to tell you, you and all the guardians out there that have lots and lots of vegetables, and the diplomats, and even me, I have tons of vegetables, that there is protein in vegetables. Like, we don't even realize it, but it's plant protein. And so you're still getting protein when you eat bunch of the vegetables, and they're really great. If you are losing weight, eating lots of vegetables is great because it has very little calories.
Yeah. No, I have coached several guardians and diplomats who don't need they don't need as much meat unless they're doing high amounts of training. And so their meat is always reduced and put lots of vegetables. And it's really hard for them to transition. I find that a lot of them want to eat meat 3 times a day because that's what they're used to. And so what I have found to be most successful with them is to gradually reduce the meat. They just take it out of breakfast, you know, and start having breakfast without protein, without eggs or something. And they could have a pea protein or some kind of protein in their smoothies that isn't animal protein. But then they just gradually reduce the protein over time. And I had one guardian that it took her a year to reduce her protein, a year to reduce it to the level we wanted her at. And she's finally feeling good. But in the beginning, it felt like starving to death to have that reduction in protein because her body was used to it. And now she feels light, she's lost weight, she has more energy, she has way less inflammation. But it took a long time to make that transition of less protein for guardians and diplomats. So if you're in that situation, just give your body plenty of time and just gradually transition.
That's a great suggestion. It's really important for you guys to remember that too, because that's really, it does take longer. Sometimes that's why you need to be gentle with yourself and why it's important to have fun with it, to try new things, to relax and just go with it. And what's the worst that could happen if you tried it for a month? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? There isn't really anything negative that can happen to you. You will be so surprised and amazed at how your body responds when you follow your pH360 food, exercise, and the rest. You know, like even if you're in the wrong place and you incorporate other, we've got a whole bunch of tips in there if you're in the wrong place, ways that you can bring that environment to you. And if you're not around the right people, we still have hints in there that tells you how to influence that, and then you can transition slowly over time and begin to choose friends and be in situations that are around the right people. And if you're not doing your special talents right now, then that's something you can incorporate over time. It's not like, boom, you have to do it all right now. I know some of us want that really bad. We want the results right now. Wouldn't that be great? But it's just that, you know, the most important thing is to relax and have fun. I know I'm saying that I'm a connector. Okay, but even for all of you other types, for your version of relaxation and your version of fun, it doesn't all be the same, okay? So Diana, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this has been amazing. Our time is like totally done now. In fact, we stayed over like 5 extra minutes. We're barely gonna have time for a tiny break before we go on with Matt. And so I just wanted to say thank you, and we're so thankful for all the work that you do, all that training that you do with all the coaches, and you put your heart into everything that you do, and we love you, Diana.
Oh, well, thank you. I love being on this team, and I love you, Jules, and everybody. Thanks for participating today. I'm sorry we couldn't get to all your questions. I would love to answer all the questions. There's just so many, and we don't have time to answer all of them. But hopefully the resources will help you, and we're creating more question and answer sections so that you guys can find out answers to your questions.
Yeah, we're creating. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Thanks for being a part of the pH360 family.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jules.
Regarding the forum, we have that coming up, a kind of a forum setting, so that you can get your questions get answers to questions pretty easily. A lot of the questions you've been asking are repeated questions. Now, the best place at this moment is to go to the Facebook group. If you're not part of the Facebook group, then send a note to support@ph360.me, and we will get you into the Facebook group. It's really vital, even if you don't like Facebook, still join this group, because there's so many answers to questions there. There's a lot of coaches that are in there, and they answer questions. We come in and answer questions, so it's a really good place to hang out. So,
Somebody wants to know about the replays. How do they get access to replays?
Replay. Okay, replays are coming in an email. They will be arriving in your email box within the next 24 hours.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right, Dee, it was great to have you, and we'll see you guys at 12 o'clock. Go off, come back now. Wait, for anybody who needs to, you guys may need to clear your cache and restart your computers if you want to join the next one and not have any issues. Okay. All right.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.